I had been through two different scenarios where I tend to understand that indeed it's true that there are always spiritual forces that could stop our blessings from getting to us. And which is the more reason why we really need to pray in regards to that aspect. Let me give you guys those two scenarios. The first scenario was me in a car driving. Then just a few blocks away, I could see a beggar sitting on the roadside. Then in my conscious mind, I had to pull off cash from the car. Just that when I get close to him, I could reach out to him and give him the money. But what really happened while I was in that traffic stop by the police, that's the traffic police, something strange happened. I could not even remember that I was supposed to give out money to a beggar on the road. When I had gone far after one side of the road were called to drive through, then I remembered I was supposed to give this man some money. And I'd be like, okay, some other time I will do the needful by giving him the money. I will not forget anymore. Now, the second scenario was about a friend that had literally gone through a lot with me back in those days, you see. Then one unfortunate evening for me, I found myself having that battle with my conscience, like something keep hitting up on my mind, not giving me the inner peace I deserve. Like, you really need to call this person, you really need to reach out to this person. It's been so long, you've been so silent. You really need to figure out what this person is really going through, if this person is really okay or not. Then that day I did all I could to reach out to this friend of mine, and then the only thing that was on my mind was send money, then which I literally did. But now, this evening, those two scenarios gave me a flash. Then I had to look at it from the spiritual aspect of it. Then I was directed to this part of the Bible while I was busy concentrating on exactly how powerful it could be that spiritual forces can literally hinder your blessings. Now, then I went to the book of Esther 6 to 10. Verse 6 says, that night the king couldn't sleep. He ordered the record book, the day-by-day journal of events, to be brought and read to him. They came across a story there about the time that Mordecai had exposed the plot of Bigthana and Teresh, the two royal eunuchs who guarded the entrance and who had conspired to assassinate King Xerxes. The king further asked, what great honor was given to Mordecai for this? Nothing, replied the king's servant who were in attendance. Nothing has been done for him. The king said, is there anybody out in the court? Now Haman had just come into the outer court of the king's palace to talk to the king about hanging Mordecai on the gallows he had built for him. The king's servant said, Haman is out there waiting in the court. Bring him in, said the king. When Haman entered, the king said, what would be appropriate for the man the king especially wants to honor? Haman thought to himself, he must be talking about honoring me. Who else? So he answered the king, for the man the king delights to honor, do this. Bring a royal robe and a horse the king has ridden, one with a royal crown on his head. Then give the robe and the horse to one of the king's most noble princes. Have him robe this man, whom the king especially wants to honor. Have the prince lead him on horseback through the city square. proclaiming before him. This is what is done for the man whom the king especially wants to honor. Now, go on and do it, the king said to Haman. Don't waste another minute. Take the robe and the horse and do what you have proposed to Mordecai, the Jew who sits at the king's gate. Don't leave out a single detail of your plan. Now, what the scripture actually means is this. Sometimes a lot of people out there would really, really want to reach out to you to really help you. But things like those unforeseen circumstances, which could be the hindrance from the devil, come true. Now, imagine a situation where I had pulled out money to give to a beggar on the roadside. Then suddenly I forgot when he was just sitting just in front of me on the roadside. Imagine a situation where I had to really go back in thought just to remember someone who had done something good for me to really help out when they least expect. Now, this is because we need to pray against spiritual battles that hinders our blessings. Our helpers are out there. They want to reach out to you. They want to help you. But because of these spiritual hindrances, they won't be able to do it. It's not like they really didn't want to do it. They had wanted to do it, and they still want to do it. But the point is, something might be making them not do that stuff for you. That thing that you want that person to do for you. Sometimes you tend to wonder, how come this my friend in the United States? How come this my friend in abroad cannot even send me out some money to even take care of myself? How come this person don't even care to check out on me? These people really want to do it. But when those spiritual forces are there, it literally gives them a diverse thought not to even go to where you are at all. Now, this is not something that it's funny. It is very, very, very serious. You really need to pray against such hindrances. Like this book of Esther I have read, in summary of it, what I meant was this, or what the scripture means is this. The king could not find sleep nor slumber until Mordecai ought to be blessed. This ought to be one of your basic prayer points every day. As I go out, kings and queens will not find peace, nor rest, nor even slumber until I am blessed. My helper shall locate me from north, east, south, and west. There shall be no form of hindrances that is going to stop my blessings from coming to me. If we want to elaborate this further, you will understand that David too also had this story where he prayed for over 21 days before the blessings can get to him. And when these angels came, they said, your blessings was released by God on the very first day you knelt down to say, God bless me. But there were some spiritual forces in the seventh heaven that were holding his blessings captive until that cry gets to the Lord, just like the cry of the Israelites when they were in the land of Egypt. Gets to them, the Lord said, no, this my son has been crying over one thing I had blessed him with a long time ago. Now angels, go get his blessings and give it to him today. That is where I see the word push, pray until something happens. If David was not praying consistently, his blessing might just have been there captive, but his constant cry did not give God peace. So what you need to do today and henceforth is always praying that every spiritual forces that is against my destiny, that is against my being productive and being successful, that is stopping my helpers to locate me, you begin to shut those hindrances down. Because not until you do so, you will not be having that spiritual manifestation in your life. Somebody might be somewhere thinking about how to help you. Somebody might be somewhere worried sick about you, but at the end of the day, this person can still reach out to you. It is not something that is natural. It's a spiritual damage, and that spiritual damage you ought to fix by praying diligently. Now, these things we need to understand. It's about the fact that we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities and powers. You may be where you are today, but you might not understand that the reason why you're still stuck in that same position you are today is because there are a lot of spiritual forces that are hindering your blessings. Yes, they are hindering your blessings. So it is high time you begin to speak that word, you begin to prophesy that any spiritual forces or attack or whatever the plot of the devil or the enemies are over your life that is giving you hindrances from stopping you being a successful soul and a person, you need to start binding them. You need to start breaking them until when you fight against those spiritual hindrances, trust me, that is when the doors of unlimited glory and blessings will fall on you. This is not a joke. I have seen situations where people ought to bless others, but for some unforeseen reasons, they just go mute. They just went MIA, like nothing happened, like they didn't even have a thought of this person. And I had put myself in that page as an example. I wanted to bless someone who was sitting just in front of me. And with a little short time, less than a minute, I just forgot and I drove away. Now, that is not funny. That man that day had literally lost what I wanted to give to him. That is what we call spiritual hindrances. When such things like that begin to happen in your life, it's going to stop you from getting the blessings God has designed for you. So from henceforth, I want to implore us, or rather beseech us, to start looking at these factors, because not until you begin to see life too deep, that is when you're going to understand that there is more detail about life than we can just see. And the spiritual aspect of life really controls us in the physical realm. So we need to be very careful. We need to start praying about that. Not until then, that doors of unlimited glory and blessings will come forth. Peace out and keep being focused in the Lord. For those who hold on to the Lord are never abandoned or ignored. So God is all you need. God is all you deserve in your life. God is the mechanism. God is the engine. God is the knowledge and everything you need. And not until when you start understanding the power of the Lord, you will not begin to understand these spiritual battles. So I want us to do that. I want us to look into the areas of our life why we've been stuck in one place or the other. Sometimes it's not all about what we see in the physical. Sometimes about the spiritual. You go for an appointment, you go for an interview, you will not get the job at the end of the day. You'll find someone who was supposed to bless you with something, and yet this person will not even have the zeal and the courage to give you out that thing you deserve. Now, these are not things that are normal. They are spiritual hindrances. If we go deep into our Bible, we will understand that. Please, I want to beseech us today to see that as a basic factor that could guide our life to that place that we want to be, to that place that God has set out for us to be. And the only way we can do that is when we start fighting against these spiritual forces and those hindrances. Please, I'll keep watching Green Leaf Entertainment channel. This is what we do. We just want to make people feel inspired and motivated. We do the real talk show. Then we're trying to stay cool always.